In the quiet town of Crestwood, nestled between rolling hills and thick woods, there stood an old asylum, long abandoned and left to decay. The townspeople rarely spoke of it, but the crumbling building cast a dark shadow over their peaceful lives. It was rumored that the asylum had once been a place of horrors, where the mentally ill were subjected to inhumane treatments. Dr. Emma Reynolds, a clinical psychologist, had recently relocated to Crestwood in search of a fresh start. She was drawn to the town's serene atmosphere, hoping it would provide a calm backdrop for her work. Emma had heard whispers about the abandoned asylum, but dismissed them as local superstitions. One day, while exploring the town's historical archives, Emma stumbled upon an old newspaper article dated 1963. The headline sent shivers down her spine: "Mysterious disappearance of asylum staff remains unsolved." The article recounted the sudden disappearance of the entire staff one stormy night, leaving the patients unattended. The asylum was eventually shut down, but the eerie incident left an indelible mark on the town. Intrigued, Emma decided to investigate further. She reached out to the town's elderly residents, hoping to find someone who remembered the events of that fateful night. After numerous conversations, she finally connected with Mr. Samuel Thompson, a retired janitor who had worked at the asylum during its final years. Samuel reluctantly agreed to share his memories with Emma. He spoke in hushed tones, recounting the bizarre occurrences leading up to the staff's disappearance. Patients had reported hearing mysterious whispers in the corridors, and shadows seemed to move of their own accord. Samuel described a pervasive feeling of dread that hung in the air, making even the bravest staff members uneasy. Emma sensed that there was more to the story, and Samuel hesitated before revealing a secret room hidden deep within the asylum's bowels. It was a place that had been sealed off, forgotten by time. With Samuel as her guide, Emma ventured into the decaying structure, the musty air clinging to her as she descended into the darkness. The secret room was adorned with cryptic symbols and faded pentagrams, suggesting that it had been a site for forbidden rituals. As Emma examined the surroundings, a cold wind swept through the chamber, extinguishing her flashlight. Panic set in as she fumbled to relight it, the oppressive darkness seemingly alive. A distant whisper echoed through the air, unintelligible but laden with malevolence. Emma's heart raced as she felt an unseen presence in the room. Samuel, now visibly shaken, urged her to leave, warning that some things were better left undisturbed. Determined to uncover the truth, Emma continued her investigation. She delved into the asylum's patient records and discovered a name that sent a chill down her spine: Margaret Harris, a patient admitted in 1962. Margaret's history revealed a troubled past, marked by a series of unexplained deaths in her family. As Emma dug deeper, she learned that Margaret had been subjected to experimental treatments in the secret room. The asylum staff believed her to be possessed by a malevolent force that defied explanation. Emma was skeptical but couldn't shake the feeling that there was a connection between Margaret and the inexplicable events that unfolded in the asylum. Late one night, Emma found herself standing before Margaret's long-forgotten patient room. The air felt heavy, as if the very walls were alive with suppressed energy. Emma hesitated before entering, her senses on high alert. Inside, she discovered a tattered journal hidden beneath a rotting mattress. The journal chronicled Margaret's descent into madness, her writings becoming increasingly erratic. Pages were filled with desperate pleas for help, interspersed with disturbing sketches of otherworldly creatures. The final entry sent a shiver down Emma's spine. "They speak in whispers, in the silence between words. The darkness feeds, and soon it will consume us all." Emma's investigation had opened a door to a realm beyond understanding. The town of Crestwood, once serene and idyllic, now bore the weight of a dark secret. The shadows in the abandoned asylum seemed to stir with a malevolent intent, and Emma couldn't shake the feeling that Margaret's tortured soul lingered, trapped between worlds. As Emma delved deeper into the mystery, the boundary between the living and the dead blurred. Strange occurrences plagued her every step, flickering lights, phantom footsteps, and the incessant whispers that seemed to follow her wherever she went. The once peaceful town now echoed with a sense of foreboding, its residents gripped by an unseen terror. One night, as a storm raged outside, Emma returned to the secret room, compelled by an otherworldly force. The symbols on the walls seemed to writhe, casting grotesque shadows that danced in the dim light. A voice, cold and ancient, echoed in her mind, revealing the truth behind the asylum's dark history. Margaret Harris had become a vessel for a malevolent entity that hungered for the essence of the living. The experimental rituals had unleashed a force beyond human comprehension, and the asylum staff, in their desperation, had unwittingly become conduits for the entity's insatiable appetite. Emma realized that she was now entwined in the same web of darkness. The entity, having tasted the psychologist's curiosity, sought to consume her soul, to prolong its existence. As the whispers grew louder, Emma fought against the encroaching madness, desperately seeking a way to break free from the sinister grasp that bound her. In a final act of defiance, Emma gathered her strength and confronted the malevolent force. The secret room became a battleground of wills, the air crackling with ethereal energy. With a surge of determination, Emma recited an ancient incantation she had uncovered in her research, a desperate plea for salvation. The room trembled as the entity fought against the incantation's power. Shadows writhed and contorted, and for a moment, it seemed as if the very fabric of reality was tearing apart. With a deafening roar, the entity was banished, its insidious whispers silenced. As the storm outside subsided, Emma emerged from the asylum, the weight of the supernatural burden lifted. The once quiet town of Crestwood returned to its peaceful slumber, blissfully unaware of the horrors that had unfolded within the decaying walls. Emma, forever changed by her harrowing ordeal, left Crestwood behind. The asylum, now a crumbling relic of the past, stood as a silent witness to the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of the seemingly ordinary. The town's residents continued their lives, the memory of the abandoned asylum fading into the recesses of collective forgetfulness. But as Emma drove away, she couldn't shake the feeling that the entity, banished but not destroyed, lingered in the shadows, patiently awaiting another opportunity to cross the threshold between worlds. The once sleeping town harbored a secret, and though the whispers had ceased, the echoes of the supernatural lingered, ready to resurface when the veil between the living and the dead grew thin once again. Nestled on the outskirts of a small, unassuming town, the Hollowbrook Mansion stood as an embodiment of faded grandeur. It had been decades since anyone had crossed its threshold, the once gleaming facade now marred by the relentless hands of time. Rumors whispered through the town, tales of the mansion's dark history and its legacy as a silent witness to the secrets buried within its walls. Dr. Robert Carter, a renowned paranormal researcher, found himself drawn to the enigma surrounding Hollowbrook Mansion. His fascination with the supernatural had led him to investigate numerous haunted locations, but the allure of this decaying estate proved irresistible. Armed with recording equipment, cameras, and a keen sense of skepticism, Robert embarked on a journey to uncover the truth behind the mansion's haunted reputation. The town's archives yielded little information, but locals spoke in hushed tones about a tragedy that had befallen the Hollowbrook family in the late 1950s. It was said that on a stormy night, the family's youngest daughter, Abigail, had vanished without a trace. The mansion became a place of mourning, and as time passed, rumors spread of eerie occurrences within its walls. Undeterred by the ominous tales, Robert secured permission from the town council to conduct a thorough investigation. As he entered the mansion, the musty scent of abandonment clung to the air, and the floor creaked beneath each cautious step. The fading daylight filtered through cracked windows, casting long shadows that seemed to dance with unseen entities. Setting up his equipment in the grand foyer, Robert began his exploration. The air was thick with an unspoken history, and his senses tingled with anticipation. His voice echoed through the empty halls as he called out to any lingering spirits, inviting them to make their presence known. Night fell, and the mansion took on a different character. Shadows stretched and contorted, playing tricks on Robert's perception. As he reviewed the recordings, he detected subtle anomalies, whispers that lingered just beyond the threshold of understanding, and faint footsteps that echoed through the empty corridors. Undeterred, Robert pressed on, delving into the mansion's hidden corners. He discovered a locked door, seemingly untouched by time. The heavy key he found in the study fit the lock perfectly, and as he turned it, the door creaked open, revealing a room frozen in time. Abigail Hollowbrook's bedroom remained untouched since the night of her disappearance. Faded toys scattered across the floor, a once vibrant dollhouse now shrouded in dust. The air in the room felt charged with emotion, and Robert couldn't shake the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. As he set up his equipment in the room, the temperature plummeted, and a soft, childlike giggle echoed through the stillness. The atmosphere grew heavy with sorrow, and Robert sensed a presence reaching out from the past. The ghostly laughter intensified, alternating between innocent joy and haunting despair. In a desperate attempt to communicate, Robert addressed the unseen entity, asking if it was Abigail. The response came in the form of an ethereal voice, whispering fragmented words that hinted at a tragedy obscured by the passage of time. Shadows danced across the walls, taking shape as fleeting apparitions that lingered only for a moment before dissolving into the darkness. Driven by a mix of fascination and empathy, Robert continued his investigation. He uncovered a series of letters hidden in a forgotten attic, written by Abigail to an imaginary friend named Emily. The letters spoke of a spectral companion who whispered secrets in the dead of night, a friend who only Abigail could see. As Robert delved deeper into the mansion's history, he uncovered a chilling revelation. Abigail's imaginary friend, Emily, was not a product of a child's imagination but an entity with a dark past. The letters revealed that Emily had once been a resident of the mansion, a troubled soul who had met a tragic end years before Abigail's birth. The realization struck Robert like a thunderbolt. The paranormal activity within Hollowbrook Mansion wasn't a mere haunting. It was a convergence of two tragic souls, bound by the ephemeral echoes of their shared sorrow. Abigail, sensitive to the supernatural, had unwittingly become a conduit for Emily's lingering spirit. Determined to help these lost souls find peace, Robert devised a plan to conduct a séance in the very room where the tragic connection had taken root. Armed with knowledge gleaned from his research, he invited a local medium to assist in the communication with the spirits. As the séance began, the room crackled with energy. Flickering candles cast dancing shadows on the walls, and the air seemed charged with anticipation. The medium, with eyes closed, began to speak in a voice that echoed with the cadence of Abigail's innocent laughter and Emily's mournful whispers. The spirits, long separated by the boundaries of time and tragedy, finally found a conduit for their untold stories. Through the medium, Abigail and Emily spoke of their shared pain, the circumstances that had bound them together in an unbreakable bond. As their voices intertwined, a serene calm settled over the room. In a final, bittersweet moment, the atmosphere shifted and the temperature rose. The spectral manifestations faded, leaving behind a lingering sense of closure. The medium, exhausted but fulfilled, opened her eyes, a tear rolling down her cheek as she felt the departure of the two intertwined spirits. As dawn broke, Hollowbrook Mansion stood silent once more, its haunted legacy finally put to rest. The townspeople, unaware of the spectral drama that had unfolded within its walls, continued their lives, passing by the mansion without a second thought. Robert, having witnessed the profound connection between the living and the dead, left the town with a newfound understanding of the delicate balance that exists between this world and the next. The mansion, now free of its ghostly inhabitants, seemed to exhale a sigh of relief, its secrets buried once more beneath layers of time and forgotten echoes. In the heart of the Pacific Northwest, where dense forests embraced the quiet town of Ravenshade, there stood an ancient grove of towering pines known as the Whispering Pines. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones about the mystical aura that surrounded the grove, and tales of unexplained phenomena whispered through generations. Elena Rodriguez, an investigative journalist with a penchant for unraveling mysteries, found herself drawn to Ravenshade and its enigmatic Whispering Pines. The townspeople, though initially hesitant to share their stories, gradually opened up about strange occurrences that seemed to emanate from the heart of the centuries-old forest. As Elena delved into the town's history, she uncovered a recurring theme: those who ventured too deep into the Whispering Pines were never the same. Some returned with tales of eerie voices that seemed to resonate from within the trees, while others spoke of unsettling visions that lingered long after they had exited the forest. Undeterred by the ominous stories, Elena embarked on an expedition into the Whispering Pines. Armed with a camera, recorder, and a notepad, she ventured beyond the familiar trails, guided only by the haunting whispers that beckoned her deeper into the ancient grove. The pines loomed overhead, their branches entwined like an intricate tapestry. As Elena pressed on, the sunlight filtering through the thick canopy diminished, casting the forest floor in dappled shadows. The air, once filled with the sounds of rustling leaves, grew still, as if nature itself held its breath in anticipation. Elena's surroundings took on an ethereal quality as she reached the heart of the grove. The towering pines seemed to lean toward her, their bark etched with patterns that resembled mysterious symbols. The whispers, now more distinct, echoed through the silence, weaving a tale of forgotten memories and ancient secrets. As she advanced, the boundary between reality and something otherworldly blurred. The pine needles beneath her boots seemed to soften, almost as if the forest floor cradled her steps. The whispering voices, now a melodic chorus, resonated with a haunting beauty that captivated Elena's senses. In the midst of the grove, Elena stumbled upon an ancient stone altar adorned with weathered symbols. The whispers crescendoed, forming a hypnotic chant that seemed to resonate from the very earth beneath her feet. Mesmerized, Elena felt a presence, ancient and powerful, reaching out to her through the spectral symphony. The forest responded to her presence, revealing visions of Ravenshade's forgotten past. Spectral images danced through the trees, the indigenous tribes that once revered the grove as sacred, the settlers who sought refuge under the pines, and the rituals performed to appease the ancient spirits that dwelled within. As Elena documented the haunting visions, a figure materialized before her, an ethereal guardian of the Whispering Pines. The guardian, a spectral entity woven from the very fabric of the forest, communicated with Elena through vivid imagery and emotions. It revealed that the grove harbored the memories of generations, and those who entered its depths became conduits for the echoes of the past. The guardian's voice, a harmonious blend of nature's whispers, urged Elena to share the untold stories of the Whispering Pines with the outside world. The ancient spirits sought recognition and remembrance, their tales woven into the very fabric of the grove's existence. Elena, awestruck by the revelations, emerged from the Whispering Pines with a newfound understanding of the mystical forces that bound Ravenshade to its ancient heart. The townspeople, initially skeptical of her quest, were captivated by the stories she unveiled, tales of ancestral spirits, forgotten rituals, and the delicate balance between the living and the ethereal. The Whispering Pines, no longer confined to local lore, became a beacon of intrigue for seekers of the supernatural. Elena's documentation, a testament to the mystical wonders that lingered in the heart of Ravenshade, drew visitors from far and wide. The ancient grove, once shrouded in mystery, now stood as a living testament to the interwoven threads of past and present. As the sun set over the whispering pines, casting long shadows that danced among the ancient trees, the whispers persisted. The town of Ravenshade, forever changed by Elena's revelations, embraced the ethereal connection with the past, finding solace in the echoes that whispered through the pines, a timeless chorus that transcended the boundaries between the living and the spectral realm.